Hello, and welcome back to me playing Oxygen Not Included. On this particular asteroid that is metal poor, and I'm on hard mode. It's dupes eating twice the amount of calories. Get stressed out very easily. So let me give you an update on what I've been up to the last week. Because I've been releasing episodes that have been sort of pre-recorded, but in actuality I've been traveling. Actually went to transatlantic flight. And of course on the flight, it was going to be like 8 hours or so. I had my laptop open and playing Oxygen Not Included the whole way. Of course, I didn't feel it was appropriate to record an actual episode, so I was just kind of experimenting. But I found I could have done this a lot better. Now, I have gotten the carnivore achievement, I got the locavore achievement. I'm in a good situation to send a rocket over and get materials and continue on. But there are a couple key mistakes, or, well, not mistakes, like I said, I've gotten my achievements, but there are a couple key optimizations that I should have done that I didn't. So I want to share that with you now. First of all, the biggest one is I did not need to use the incubator for I don't know how many cycles, 60, 80. It was like up until the point, once I started to build this incubator, until the point that I got the carnivore achievement, I've been using it every single cycle, and it is miserable. If anyone is following this technique, please don't do this. I'm going to show you a better technique that really I'm still going to use that incubator for getting the carnivore achievement, but not nearly as much. So that is one key thing. Also, some of the automation that I did right now, you can see the auto sweeper in there, but I made an episode, I think it was called Cheap Incubator Automation. I can make it even cheaper than that and start to use it even sooner. So that's one thing. Another thing is I did not use the power control system. So I've got power generation happening up here. I've got 3 manual generators. My dupes over the first 100 cycles or even more, because I'm going for the super sustainable achievement, I've been relying on that as well as the hydrogen generator. But with a power control situation, it really reduces significantly the amount of time that my dupes spend on that. So that was something that I didn't take advantage of. The other thing is, instead of getting down here and cracking into these cool geysers, I've got cool slush, cool salt. What I should have done is actually gone here first. I haven't uncovered this, but I know it's the hot water geyser that gives 95-degree water. And it doesn't matter the fact that that's hot, that can still be used in this machine as well as a supercomputer. And I wouldn't have to bother cooling it off. And I could have saved my other water reserves for oxygen and buy myself a little bit of time before I dig down in this area. The other thing is my dupes got way too stressed out, in particular Builder, so that's something that I need to improve. So it's quite a bit. I could have had a very different experience, and if it had just been one thing, I would have said, you know what, on my next playthrough, I will try this different technique. But because there's just so much potential to do better than I have, I'm actually going to restart and implement some of these techniques. So I will not be using the incubator nearly as much. My dupes won't be on the manual generator so much. The other thing is I didn't need chef and cook in the beginning. I should have definitely had someone with good digging skills to start off with. All right, I'm quite a bit excited about this. I'm going to start right now and get ready. It's going to be the exact same base, but with these new techniques, and it's going to go much smoother. So at this point, I'm in cycle 120. Yes, I have my locavore and carnivore achievements, but I think with some of these improvements, not only will it be a lot easier for me to get the carnivore achievement, certainly not going to spend so much time in this room, but my dupes are going to be able to advance the base because they're not wasting so much time in some of the stuff that they didn't need to do. Let's get started. Here we are, starting a new game in survival mode, spaced out. And we're going to go to the last asteroid here. I'm going to actually use the exact same code that I had in the last game. I really like that one because it's metal poor. Now, if you want an easy playthrough, this is not the one to go through. You do not want metal poor, unless you want the challenge, and that's why I'm doing this. I think it's 18828-Q-C I should see several metal pour options. Yeah, metal pour, metal pour, metal pour. I'm going to be very careful to make sure to go into the game settings. Let's make, no, not rumbly tummies, ravenous. I want the most difficult thing, no care packages, disease, difficult morale, radiation. Of course, they're going to have stress, and no teleportation. Okay, let's go. So here is my team, and the difference is I have minor. In the last playthrough, I had two cooking dupes. One was called chef, and the other was cook. So I just have chef. I still have a chef, and I'm eventually going to have another dupe that will do a good amount of cooking, just to make sure I get the locavore achievement. But I think it is far more beneficial to have a dupe that has really good digging skills. And notice that the negative traits, the other two, are decreased evacuation. Now that is not on purpose, but I'm just simply not concerned about that particular thing because I'm going to get minor to do a lot of the digging. Let's get going with that first change. Let's embark on our mission. I'm going to pause things right off. Now, in the initial task that I'm going to have for my dupes is to do a bit of digging. And that's a little bit of a disadvantage since miner's the only good digger, but that's going to change. And I'm even going to set that priority now. So I'm going to say, miner, you are going to do a lot of digging. You're a decent there, you're handy with building, so I'll make that your second priority. Everyone else, don't dig. In particular because you're bad diggers, but also because we really want to make sure the person that's the most efficient at it is the one that does it. Same thing over here, research. I don't want any dupes at this point doing research unless they're scientists. We get things done quickly. The same thing with cooking. Whoops. Let's go back to priorities there. I'm going to just decrease that. So that's the case, and I think that will do for that. So let's get going. I'm going to build a column going up and down in the exact same location that's over here. So my dupes are creating some material that I'll be able to build a ladder to go down. And my goal, as always, is to get a latrine and a barracks together. So I'll dig that out, and perhaps I'll meet you at the end of the cycle to see if I get that created. So just about to have my latrine and barracks put together with 3 outhouses over here. Speed things up a little bit. Scientist, you can do it. So that is, that's going to give me a +1 morale for each of those things. At this point, I can work on the next task, which is to have a research station and power generation. So I'm going to have a power room over here with a power, eventually, not at the moment, but a power control system to reduce the amount of time dupes spend on the manual generator. So now I get to work on that. Since the end of the first cycle, just wanted to point out it saved a little bit of room over here to be able to create a nature reserve and eventually get the dupes to go through here. And I'm making a priority of digging this guy out. That's a hatch. That's going to be one of the key things for the carnivore achievement. I should have had more hatches because you get twice the amount of food from them than the pips. I'm still going to rely on the pips for meat, but I also want to do that. The other thing I just want to point out is I didn't do critter ranching on a shine bug, and one of the achievements has me actually do that for a shine bug, so it makes it a little bit more difficult if I don't do that. There is another asteroid that I can do that, but if I do it in this asteroid, it's just all that easier. So that's the critter whisperer. I want to get that shine bug tamed because they die out so easily, and then you'll have to because I have no packages, I'm not going to get any new shine bugs, at least from this particular asteroid. Alright, let's continue on developing this power room. So I built another schedule here. I'm going to have 2 dupes per schedule. So let's send miner down there so they'll have a slightly different schedule, and the new dupe will go into that schedule slot. I have a very simple power room now, and I'm able to research. So the very first thing I want to research is oxygen, because if I run out of that, things are not going to be looking good for me. Now I can actually build the power wire that's going to go to the first pump that will exist over here, and I'll try to avoid my dupes getting their feet wet when they build a pump at that location. research has been complete on a pump. So I'm going to put the pump at this location and then direct the liquid pipe to the center of the base where I'll have an electrolyzer at this location. Having a kitchen area set up over here, and Chef is going to be spending a lot of time there, so I'm going to actually create some light. Scientist has already done the research. And this is where most of the food is going to be prepared, at least during the locavore part of the achievement of this game. Actually, another thing I want to mention about this is I built the water pitcher pump, a location that has water, so I'm not pumping water to it in the early phase, which is what I did. So that saves just a little bit of power for just the fact that I don't have to pump water to this location. It can use this, and eventually I'm going to drain the water down here, so this water will rush down here when this dries up. Right now I'm digging up and down because I have an electrolyzer that's going to be producing hydrogen. I want that to go up and away from my base, and the carbon dioxide, and I want that to go down and below, keeping the working area full of just oxygen. We're at the beginning of schedule 4, or cycle 4, so I'm going to make sure I put Rancher in this so they're not over here trying to stay awake all day long. And actually, let's look at their skill point. So I'm going to want to give them critter ranching, so in order to do that I need to give them improved farming, so I'll do that bit there. Just waiting for these batteries to be created. Well, I just up the priority because food is important. Dupes need them to stay alive. I was going to create another manual generator, but I don't have enough metal for that. We dig some pieces out. So now with 3 jumbo batteries, I can get Chef to create mush bars forever. It's going to turn dirt and water into mush bars. I'm going to up this priority so that the dupes know to continually fill it with water. The other input, of course, is dirt. So let's store dirt at this location, just so that it's easy to fill that. And of course, yes, Chef, you're right. In order to produce this, we're also going to need power. So good job producing that. In fact, maybe I'll even make a second manual generator right there. So I now have a great haul. So my 4 dupes are able to eat here and get a +6 morale bonus. Currently digging out this spot here so that I can get a supercomputer, and that's going to be close to water because that requires water, so it's going to be a perfect location for it. Actually, let's also install a lamp. Okay, apparently, Pip, really? It's quite annoying. I'll dig that out so I can get a lamp and a supercomputer built at this location. See, there's a skill point to be given out. That scientist is going to give that right away, so they get a +2 to science. So when I build a supercomputer, they'll have a speed bonus for doing research. See another skill point available to be given out. That is miner, so they can now cut through granite, but they also get a +2 to digging, which is going to help because there's still lots of digging that needs to be done. So one power optimization I could do is have dupe sensors here to turn the lights off when they're not needed. I would need a rock crusher for that normally, except my teleportation equipment is gone, so I could actually destruct this and get some copper, refined metal, and build it without even creating a rock crusher. So I'll do that now. See, miner is already on the case. Apparently they like to destroy stuff. Good job. Alright, so that is going to give me, I think, 200 kilograms of copper. I'll put one at this location and one over here with the dupe sensor on each of these. So that's just going to turn those lights off when there's no dupes there, saving the power that I'm generating from the manual generators. Another skill point to be given out. Chef. Okay, this is really good. They're going to get a +2 to cooking, as well as the ability to use electric grill, which I'll install right here. Because we definitely, now I've cut out some hexalent plants, so we're okay with food right now, but I definitely want to have them enhance their cooking abilities. It is time for another dupe. So this is going to be an operator, one that can use the power control a building, and I don't see anyone who has operations, so what I'm going to do, same thing as before, do a save, call this new dupe, go back and forth until I get a dupe I like. Another plus 13. So their operating skills, they can essentially run machines 130% faster, but their engine tune-up is plus 33. But in addition to that, they're a grease monkey, so that totals 41% tune-up effect duration. So that's really nice. And they're going to be the ones that I'm going to be getting to run the Rock Crusher. Now, Kitchen Menace, Critter Aversion, not going to get them to do either of those things. Decreased germ resistance, not too great, but I'll manage things. So welcome, operator, to the team. Let's look at priorities. I have to be very careful about telling the other dupes not to operate, because when I need someone to use the manual generator, I don't want the operator to be the only one that can do that. So I'll just have to watch the Rock Crusher when I create it, that they're the one that's going to create that, or operate that. So also, let's look at cot for operator to be able to sleep in. Worried about this location actually dripping down, so what I'm going to do is, actually one of the dupes might have to get their feet wet, depends on how that, let's try to avoid this case. I don't think it really would matter, but they wouldn't just get their feet wet, they'd actually fully soaked. So if one of you dupes, probably going to be minor. If you're on duty, see you're over here. Yep, you went right by it. Oh, you're off duty. Okay, well, we'll come back to that. Alright, so minor has put in that block. They didn't get wet in the process, so I can now say I can have a cot here and know that it won't be a place where dupes get tripped on. Alright, supercomputer has been built. Scientist is researching something for animal, let's see, a grooming station, so that I can get that going on. I do see a new egg has arrived, but I'll worry about an incubator later. Also, the electric grill is here, so I can create mush frying. I'll do that forever. I'll make that at a high priority, so chef can start to turn some of the mush bars into mesh fried mush. Excellent, and so the actual grooming station now exists, so I can start the process of having that created. I'd like to be able to trap a pip in this room. Remove this and actually spread the tree so it's actually growing right here instead. So open this door and see if I get lucky. Maybe this pip could find their way in. That would be a very awesome thing to happen. Pip, do it. Let's make sure that operator is in a new work or a new schedule. So I'm going to get another dupe eventually. I'll put them in there so they'll have 2 in that slot. I'm currently researching the ability, well, I need to create some refined metal first, but I'm going to be researching Incubator because I see some eggs that I would love to process and have the lullaby effect applied to them. Pause the game. I'm about to see this pip go in, so I'm going to say, let's send operator. I'm going to force them to go in here. When they go in here, operator, give them special access. They're going to get trapped. And they'll have no choice but to do this one task for me, which is auto. So close that, so I've trapped a pip. Yes! Okay, can get rid of that. Operator, you can do whatever you want. I'm now going to dig out this acorn, checking to see if there's any other seeds. There is not. And eventually, oh, there, yeah, the hatch was in the ground, that's fine. And I'm going to get that pip to lay something right there. I know that already has a plant, so they won't do that. Actually, I don't know if there's too many plants in the area. Maybe not get rid of that one, because that's actually kind of doing a blocking action. I'll get rid of that just in case. And have a tree start to grow a little bit earlier, because otherwise I would have had to wait for my dupe to get the critter ranching skills and actually manually or have the dupes drop off the pip at that location. I didn't want to have to do that. Science is going on. So even if I get the incubator, I'm still not going to be able to use it at the moment. That's because no one has the critter ranching skills, but I will in time. And I can check the progress on that. That's probably the thing. Oh, operator. Well, I can give them the improved tinkering because I'm creating a rock crusher so they can use that. But the thing I'm watching the most right now is this skill point. So once rancher skills up, I want to immediately give them the critter ranching 1 skill so they can get these pips in rooms and they can get the hatch in a room. I see a hatch egg there. Let's definitely get the incubator. That's good news, but let's get an incubator as well. And I can start to progress on the carnivore achievement because I do not plan to run the incubator every single cycle this time. It's going to be very different, much more pleasant. You'll see what I do when I get to that point. In the process of researching the incubator, I have a park sign. Definitely want to take advantage of that, so I'll install that down here. That's why I have all these extra doors. I'm essentially going to be forcing the dupes to go through a nature reserve anytime they want to access any of these rooms. So I want to keep these doors closed because the shine bugs are over there, but there's no need to create or have the other doors not open. So that's going to give an extra +6 once this park sign is created for dupes morale. I can see a new dupe is just about to arrive, and I already have a cot and a mess table available for them. Pep. Yeah, I didn't count that. Should have. They had created something there, so I'm going to create a ladder, 1 priority here. Dig this out and get a ladder low priority created over. Wow, I guess I should have signed more tasks. Oops, you need to do this, you need to do that. Whatever, that's fine. Ladder can just exist there, I guess. And then we'll get a tree planted over this. Any other acorns? It looks like it's the only one. I'm going to pay special attention to the number of acorns because whenever I do, I want to have those planted in the ground because those take 18 cycles to grow into a tree, and then it's 18 more cycles to turn into branches that the pips can eat. It is my 6th and final dupe. Well, not final for ever, but final for a while. Let's see. I want someone that is a good cook because once I have 6 dupes that are ravenous, they eat 12,000 calories a day. Chef will not be able to keep up with it. So I need a dupe that is able to keep up with all the food demand. So I'll keep rolling or loading until I get someone that's good at cooking, and I'll see you in a bit. So here is my 6th dupe. I've called them Cook. They have +3 to cuisine. That means 15% cooking speed. I'm going to give them the grilling skill right away, so that's going to be 20%. Or no, actually, I think 25% speed bonus once they have that. They have supply. Now, the reason I didn't go after someone that just specializes in cooking is because at some point I don't want to have 2 cooks in the kitchen. Because once the locavore achievement has been earned, I'm going to start to plant stuff in planter boxes and get food that way, and eventually I'm going to be producing barbecue meat, and I don't need 2 cooks. So once that happens, this dupe will rely a little bit more on their supplying skills as opposed to cooking. Now, on top of that, they're mole hands, so they're a good digger, and they're iron and germ resistant, so germs can't touch them. Let's see, let's print them. They already have a bed, a place to eat, and they can join the team. Well, with 6 dupes now, I think that is good enough for my first episode. Compared to last time, not anything majorly different, though planning things forward are going to be very different. And we'll see that with the incubator, we'll see that with the power room. That may be in the next episode, because those are the next 2 things that I have. I've got to create the stables. I want those created before Rancher gets the critter ranching skills. I also would very much like an incubator created in this area before they get the critter ranching. And the next dupe that's going to have a skill up operator, they're going to have the electronics engineering skills. So let me, just before I forget, give Cook their +2 to cuisine. So yeah, essentially that, I think the next episode is really going to show the difference between the different techniques that I've used, and it's going to pay dividends in terms of dupes not wasting their time with a manual generator, and not myself wasting my time in an incubator room, which I am very happy to not to have to do in this particular playthrough. Let's do a quick health check before I leave off. Oxygen could be better in this area, though I think I just dug that out, so let me explain that. I need to dig down to get the carbon dioxide get out of the way. Power, really simple circuits, nothing to worry about. Temperature is completely fine. I just have a simple water line. Disease, nothing really too much to worry about. Make sure I've got all my rooms. I've got a great hall and a nature reserve, giving a +6 for each of those, and a latrine and a barracks. Alright, that will do for now. I will see you in the next episode where I get my dupes to stop using the manual generator so much, and I get an incubator and a system to use that does not require me to use it every single cycle until I get the carnivore achievement. And until then, Jared signing out.